Hi, my name is Zach Sands with WCI Consulting. I'm here today to talk about the adaptive processing servers, sizing and scaling of a BI platform 4.1 and above system. Really, it's the back-end servers that are involved in keeping a healthy BusinessObjects BI platform enterprise environment running and scaling at the right response time for running Webby reports, universe design, anything involving really BI platform 4.0 up to 4.1 and some of the latest releases of 4.1 patch. But really wanted to focus in on the server health and scaling for these servers. You can do it manually or in 4.1, SP3, and later releases, there's what's called a system configuration wizard, and it's a really neat tool that really helps out in doing some of the back-end legwork for you. In most cases, for most of the companies that I personally work with, using the system configuration wizard early on to kind of get you a good foundation of scaling out the APS services from a system perspective, and then working off of the APS configurations that this little tool is going to help you split out. Working off of those and customizing them further will be really your best bet moving forward, and getting the best scaling out of a BusinessObjects environment. So typically this is going to be accessed by system administrators and server admins as well. So once you log into the CMC, you'll see this little tool called the System Configuration Wizard, which is a little tool that SAP has added to assist you in splitting these out. Prior to some of the latest releases, this tool wasn't available, some of the earlier 4.0 releases, and you had to do it manually, but the ease of this little tool is going to really help you out, get it going for you. Okay, so once you access that, it has a nice little splash screen here. You can go ahead and click Next. All right, this is important for the scaling. If your BusinessObjects environment uses analysis or crystal reports, dashboard designer dashboards, data federator explorer, all these options, you can always scale this out later and run this tool anytime, but really select only the pieces that you need at for any given situation. Like I said, you can change this later. Okay, so right now I have Crystal Report selected, Dashboards, Data Federator, Explorer, Promotion Management, which is the migration tool, and Web Intelligence. So I select what I need, click Next. Okay, so this is dealing with capacity. And with the 4.0 and 4.1 BusinessObjects environments, they really utilize a lot more RAM capacity than some of the earlier releases with R2 and 3.1, for instance. So in this case, the minimum gig requirement that BusinessObjects really recommends is 16 gigs at the bare minimum. Depending on how much RAM is available on your server, you may select medium or large, if you have the RAM capacity, and if you're going to have quite a few users, concurrent users logged into the system at any given time. For this scenario, we're just going to do small, because on this particular server we have 16 gigs of RAM, and it's really not utilized by a lot of concurrent users at any given time. So I select small here, click Next, and really this is, I go ahead and leave these stock where they are, but it's kind of like where it stores some of the notes from how these are scaled out. So I just click Next here, and it'll clock here. Okay, so this is kind of a final review. In this particular server, I've already scaled these out, but I'm running the wizard again for you to see. So in this case, if you added another piece, let's say, I removed Web Intelligence or Crystal Reports, if there weren't users utilizing that technology, you would see some of the changes over here. Go ahead and click Apply, and apply again. And on the back end, it's splitting out the stock APS server that I'm going to show you here in a second with my configuration changes that I've included through the little tool here. So I click close. Now if I go to servers and click servers up here, this is really what it's done for us. These particular servers, this one is stopped currently because we're not using it, but these are the main APS servers that we have scaled out. A stock install is only going to have one adaptive processing server that contains services for each one of these servers. And if we go in here, and I can show you which particular services are included in here. Okay, so adaptive connectivity service, DSL bridge, which is really one of the most important services that needs to have a healthy running status. DSL bridge is actually the communication between your WebView reports to the universe, and then eventually to the data source. It uses quite a bit of resources to be able to connect to that, and that's really vital in keeping the DSL bridge healthy. So you can see some of these other services that are involved in the health and longevity of a BusinessObjects environment. Now, let's say you did want to add some additional RAM to one of these services. So really stock out of the box after running the tool, you should be good to go, but really you need to have users go in and test, and you can monitor the health of the system on this side to see if the system is maintaining a proper health. But if for some reason you need to add additional RAM to any one of these services, it utilizes Java heap space. And if you don't have enough, you will see some of these servers crash, and at that point you lose some system performance or lose reporting functionality altogether until it restarts. But a good way to do this is you can search through here, or you can copy this to a notepad. But really what you're looking for is this little piece right here. It says XMX 2 gigs. Right now, this core APS server can use up to 2 gigs. Let's say your system or the server admin increased the RAM and you really need to utilize this service more. You can bump it up and to however much room you have. If it's 32 gigs, you can kick this up to 6 or 8 gigs and really have a stable and healthy system. So that's where you change it, where it says XMX, save and close there. And as you can see, there's a little flag showing this is stale. It's basically saying we've picked up a change, we need the system restarted, and you can go to start and stop and restart that service. So really maintaining a healthy APS server system it's really important dealing with BusinessObjects environments, and you want to keep these as healthy as possible and up at all times, and that really involves using either that little APS tool or creating the APS servers yourself. Real quickly, if you did need to create one from scratch, instead of using the tool, you click on New Server, select Connectivity Service, and click Next, and then you decide which particular servers or services in the server are required. There's a lot of documentation out there from SAP telling you which service should be included in each server. You can check some of that out. But really, these need to be scaled for your particular business after being released to users and seeing how the system runs. That's all for today. I appreciate your time, and thanks for listening.